Hey folks, I'm Becky with Enduring Finances and welcome back to our channel. Today I am just going to be talking to you about my experience earning $750 as a new plasma donor and how you can do the exact same thing. So I'm assuming that most of you probably know someone who is donating right now or who has donated plasma in the past. But did you know that you right now can earn $750 to $1,000 as a new donor? To me, that's a substantial amount of money for just a few hours of giving your time. So let's go ahead and take a look at what exactly you can expect as a new donor. So first off, what exactly is plasma? Well, the American Red Cross classifies plasma as the liquid portion of the blood, and it makes up about 55% of your actual blood. Overall, it helps the body to maintain a healthy blood pressure. It also helps the blood clot. So you have a cut and your blood needs to stop coming out of your body, so it helps it clot that. In addition, it kind of helps to distribute the electrolytes through your muscles and around your body. And it also supports normal cell functions by assisting the body to maintain the appropriate pH balance. So it essentially just helps your body function normally. How does donating plasma work? Plasma is usually obtained by plasmapheresis, where whole blood is drawn from your body. And it's drawn into a machine, and the machine sorts out the plasma from the remaining red blood cells and all that good stuff. And then once it sorts it out, it filters the remaining blood cells, all that good stuff, back into your body, but it retains the plasma, and usually stored in a bag, kind of like you would see blood. And then at the very end of it, they typically fill you up with a little bit of saline to kind of help with that. And so it's essentially done through a single machine. You have an IV that is stuck into your arm that pulls blood and then pushes blood back into your arm once it is running through the cycle of separating the plasma from the actual red blood cells and all that good stuff. So what are the requirements to donate plasma? It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. There's three main things that you need to be mindful of. You need to be between the ages of 18 and 69. So very wide window to work from there. You need to weigh more than 110 pounds. There is no weight cap on it as long as you meet the rest of the stuff. And you have to be in relatively good health. And that's a very vague term. The federal government has specifics levels of your protein and your blood pressure and all of that each center is going to make sure that they're within those guidelines before you can donate each time. The first time you go to donate, you're going to need to go ahead and prove that you are who you are. So you're going to need to bring in a photo identification. You're going to have to prove your proof of address, which can be on your driver's license. And then you're going to need to provide proof of your social security number. You can do that by bringing in your actual social security card or bringing in a pay stub that might have it or your tax return, whatever one of those works best for you. So how long does it take to donate plasma? Well, the first time it takes longer than the rest. And the first time you can expect anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to go through the whole process. After that, when you're just doing regular donations, it's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes for each one of those, just depending on how much plasma you're donating and how fast the process goes for you. So what to expect the first time that you go in and donate plasma. So here's my experience. I scheduled my initial appointment online. It was very easy to do. I just went to a local donation center's website, found out their link, and scheduled my appointment and knew what documents I needed to bring and where I needed to go and when I needed to be there. And I think overall my entire experience has been very good. I think all of the workers there are respectful and most of them are genuinely nice. In fact, even after I finished my first donation, they sent me a handwritten thank you card for actually donating this because people need it for medical reasons and you can't make it synthetically. It has to come from human donations. So the first thing I did when I got there was I actually had my mask on because of COVID, and I had to take my temperature on a digital reader and it alerted them that I was fine. Of course, I had to wash my hands. And then we went through the identification process where I showed them all of my documents. We verified who I was, where I live, and my social security number. And then I had to complete a questionnaire that was like a brief medical overview where it lists any sexual interactions, any sexual interactions that could have had a potential HIV or other disease transmission, I should say. I had to declare any piercings, which I don't have, any tattoos that I have, went over medications that I'm currently taking, and then just allergies that I have. Because you don't want to have latex, you don't want to have iodine, those types of things they use pretty regularly, so they need to identify if you're allergic to any of those. Then they went ahead and took a picture of my face, which is what they use for identification in the back, as well as a donor ID number, and they used my fingerprint to verify who I was, and it's part of their screening process. So every time I go in there, I have my fingerprint scanned so they can verify that it's me doing me, even though they already have my picture and all of that. It's just an extra precaution that they have set up in place. They use all of their records are digitally online, so nothing's paper, and so it's all done basically on like a digital device, an app, or whatever they use. It works pretty good. After we got the fingerprints out of the way, I had to sit and watch a short video that essentially went through the entire donation process. And then I had to read all of their disclosures and policies about the donation process and all of the things that wrap into that. After that, I had to take a pretty long questionnaire that went back over my medical history, any sexual interactions, any international travel and medication and all of that. And it was around 70 questions, and it took quite a bit of time. Once I finished the questionnaire, I was taken into a private room with an individual. They took my weight, they took my temperature, they took my blood pressure, and then they pricked my finger and took a sample of blood to test for HIV and other diseases, as well as to make sure that my protein levels and all of that were within the federal guidelines in order to donate plasma on that day. Once I finished that, I was actually taken in with a supervisor to do a brief medical exam. Typically the supervisor that's going to do this exam is either a licensed practical nurse or a certified paramedic, and so they have a little bit of experience working with people in a healthcare setting. In that medical exam, we went back over my medical history briefly. I didn't have to take any clothes off, put any gowns on, anything like that. They listened to my lungs, my breathing, and then they tested my reflexes on my knees with the little clicker thingy. And then we went through again and reviewed the donation process and talked about the policies and made sure that I had a chance to ask any questions if I'd had any at that point. And that was the end of the initial screening to go through this whole thing. And so then they took me back into the actual donation room where they have all the machines and the phlebotomist working, and started on the plasma draw. I really thought highly of the phlebotomist that I had. They identified that I was a new donor, it was my first time, and they talked me through the entire process, step by step, everything that they were doing. I was all ears, and they were happy to tell me and explain to me what they were doing. So they made sure that before we got started, I was comfortable and fully situated on little chair thingies with the legs up so you can draw the blood out of it. And then before they stick you with the needle to insert the IV and do all that, they lather your arm with iodine. And so they have to do 30 seconds at the place where I'm at. They have a timer and they just rub it, and then it has to dry for 30 seconds. And then they got everything prepped and inserted the needle, taped it down, made sure I was good to go, and it was in the vein properly, and then set up the machine and just started cranking on it. And the only thing that I really had to do at that time was just pump my fist to help, get the blood flow, and I had a pressure cuff on to assist with getting the blood out. But I just had to pump my fist while the machine cycled through, and it did 3 or 4 cycles where it drew blood completely out and then split the blood from the plasma and then sent the blood back to me and kept the plasma. So we did 3 or 4 times of that, and then my donation was complete. I got the saline. It did make me feel a little bit chilly because it's cold, but other than that, not a bad experience at all. The phlebotomist was checking on me periodically through this entire time and making sure that I was good to go. They told me that they were doing a slower draw. There's apparently speeds on how fast they can draw the blood out, but they kept it slower for new donors just to make sure that you didn't have any reactions to it, like passing out or anything like that. So once I was done, they came over, had to hold a little pad so that it didn't bleed everywhere. They pulled out the needle, they wrapped and bandaged my arm up and made sure I was good to go, and they sent me on my way. Now, before I even left the building, before I was even complete with the entire process, the payment for my donation had already been sent into my new account. And essentially I walked out and I could go use it immediately. So like that, I had money in my account, and the whole process took less than 3 hours, and I walked out of the door earning my first $150 by donating plasma. So how do you get paid for donating plasma? I just mentioned that they gave me a debit card. Most donation centers are strictly going by this. They're not going to hand you a check, they're not going to hand you cash. It's simply like a debit card. It's an account system that functions like a regular prepaid debit card. So every time you go into donation, they are digitally tracking what you're doing, and as soon as they stick that needle in there and get the process started, they're going to wire money into your account. And so within the time you leave, you probably already have the money inside of your account. For my donation center, the way they have it set up, the debit card will max out at $15,000, and then it will just stop putting money in your account. Unlikely that I will ever get that high. So it means, but the good thing is, it means that you can either build up your account over time and use it for a down payment on a wedding or a house or whatnot, or you can just empty your account out every single time that you donate with the ATM, or use it on Amazon to buy stuff online like I did. Your local plasma center should have their monthly rates posted up inside the facility in multiple places. My first 6 donations fell underneath the new donor rates, and I received $150 and then $100 for each pair of donations that I did, which led me to $750 in total for 6 donations. If I continue donating, I can expect to earn more than $400 a month as a returning donor based on those rates. Now the rates fluctuate based on the city and the supply and demand and how much money the organization has at the time, but typically, on average, from what I've seen, it's about $55 a donation if you donate twice a week the entire month. So how often can you donate plasma? You can donate twice in 7 days, as long as there are 48 hours between each of those donations. Meaning, you can go in and donate on Monday, and then go back in and donate on Thursday that same week. So where can you donate plasma? There are countless centers throughout the United States and even internationally where you can go in and donate plasma and get paid for your time. I think the best resource that I have found, aside from just Googling it, is donatingplasma.org. Now this organization is all about providing information and resources to people that are looking to donate plasma or who might need plasma for their own medical reasons. They have essentially a big map. You can just go into their website and go find a donor center, and it'll open up a map, and you can search your state, your city, your zip, whatever it might be, and just narrow in on your location, and it'll give you all of the plasma donor centers that are in that area, and you can go directly to those individual centers' websites and figure out what their rates are and what it looks like for you as far as scheduling and getting in there. So it's very easy to do. I haven't had any problems with scheduling appointments to go in or even just walking in, and I think it's a great way to earn $750 for 6 donations, and for you it might be closer to $1,000. Hopefully you've learned something from this video. If you were considering donating plasma, I recommend that you do it and just try it out and see if it's good for you, and if not, well, then no worries, but if it is, it's a very good way to make a little bit of extra income on the side. So I will see you next time, guys. Hope you have a good day.